All right, so it says, all right, so, well, thank you so much, first of all, to Oksana for totally getting me out of my comfort zone. You know, whoever has worked with Oksana before, you know, she always pushes you a little bit further each day. And then when she mentioned, hey, do you want to do a workshop? I was like, yeah, maybe like in a year from now. And then I knew I had to just do it within 2 weeks, you know, that way I don't have too much time to really think about it too much and just do what I already do every day. So it's not really anything that new for me, what I'm sharing today. It comes very natural to me, and I'm just really excited to be able to share more with people who are actually interested in this topic of intuitive eating and meal planning. And I'm excited about the fact that Oksana has put this together, because I know the people who follow her are also people who are basically going to enjoy what I have to say, because we are all very like-minded at that point if we are all in the same community. So, and a little bit about me working on intuition myself, and I will, you know, share with you guys that intuition comes to us very naturally as a child, and that we all have this gift. But I feel like in a way I had lost my own gift along the way. And working with Oksana for the last couple of months, or maybe even a year and a half, something like that, I found my my way back into intuition. So what I'm sharing today is kind of my own journey. You know, it's not something that I'm like, oh my God, I'm the only one who knows how to do this. I think we all know how to do it, and it's practice like everything else. And if you have children too, that is one of my biggest passion, to make sure that our kids don't lose what they have as a child by us, you know, constantly giving them rules and wanting to have them change into something else when they already know how to do all the stuff that I will share with you guys today. So before, you know, we get started, I bet all of you know a little bit about meditation. So if you don't mind, we're gonna do what I call like a little mini meditation to kind of get into the zone of what intuitive eating is, because a lot of the people who I asked, what challenges do you actually have? You know, they said, well, I don't really know how to do it. And so we're gonna do it together as an exercise. And I want this workshop to be pretty practical today, and not me just blah, 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 and it's like super boring. So let's do this together. So the way I kind of get in touch with what I want to eat in the moment, let's say, or even when I prep for a day ahead or a week ahead, I just basically do what we do in meditation, where we basically kind of like relax. So relax in your chair or wherever you are right now, and just breathe in and breathe out for a couple of times. We could do it 4 times this time. So breathe in and just kind of let go of, you know, all the craziness you have going on in your life. For me right now, it's actually still the morning. So for me, it's kind of a perfect time to think what I'm going to have for breakfast or for lunch. If it's for you already in the afternoon and you want to think about dinner time, then concentrate on that and continue breathing. Close your eyes if you want, or leave them open. Put your feet on the ground if they're kind of dangling around. You know, we always want to ground ourselves. I'm gonna breathe in and breathing out one more time. And this is basically a little bit of that mini meditation where we just, first of all, we gotta kind of chill out a little bit. I love Oksana always with the yawning. She always makes me yawn too. I mean, we are just waking up, right? So in Houston, Texas, what time is it? It's 11. But this morning, I was running around to bring the kids out of the house so I can have a little quiet time while I do the workshop. didn't have much time to actually eat, only had a little bit of time to drink. I like to drink vitamin water in the morning, or a tea, sometimes coffee. But this morning I just had, something to kind of give me that energy to, come on, we gotta get you out of the house. And so I got them out of the house. And then when I came back before the workshop, I was starting to feel hungry. And, the breathing, I didn't really sit down to breathe like this necessarily, but if I would do more of a meal plan for the whole day, I would take the time to do that. If I just kind of say, you know what, I'm going to do this workshop and I need to see what my body feels at this very moment to eat so I can get through the workshop, I'm still kind of going to take these deep breaths because my mind is all over the place. And I want to give my body what it needs and not necessarily some, kind of just pretzels or chips that I might find that the kids have in the pantry. So before I sat down, I said, you know what, I know it's going to be about an hour and a half, and I want to have something in my body that keeps me full, but not jittery and not, just a sugar rush to just get through those, hour and a half. So I actually had an avocado. I had an avocado with some lemon and some salt. And I know avocado is going to keep me full enough until lunch. And for me, avocado is like super kind of soothing to my body and to my gut, because we'll talk more about gut feeling and how that helps us to know what to eat during the day. And so that's what I had. So I want you to kind of think about what do you guys have right now, because I know everybody's in a different time zone. If you just now took those deep breaths and you're thinking about, when we're done with this workshop, what am I going to eat? Are you excited about it? And do you feel like, I can't wait to go and have a snack when we are done, or have dinner or make dinner? I'd like for you guys, anybody who wants to share a little bit, and unmute yourself and share, because I can see the chat, but it's hard for me to type on my phone. So I'd like to know, and I see everybody right now. Christina has a big smile on her face, so maybe she wants to go.
Okay, since I got called out, then I will do.
I know. Okay.
We were luckily just having a dinner. Thank you so much. And I always pay attention what our family, what we eat, because our body is what we eat. So we try to eat always healthier, make healthier choices, that we have like vegetables and meat, and but not meat too much, and also like using less wheat, like white bread and so on, but kids always love it. So when I think when they love it, then I let them to have, but maybe not too much. So is this kind of my intuition for them? And for like planning forward, it's always like what I see in the shop, in the shelf, that talks to me. It's like when my arms are like, hands are stretching towards, this is my intuitive way how I choose. So I don't know if I answered the question.
No, you totally did. And so my question is, I feel like you're very in tune with your intuition, and you kind of having fun with it, right, when you go grocery shopping. So what questions do you have? I mean, do you feel like, hey, I know what I'm doing? Is it the meal planning for the whole week that you want to know more about, or what exactly are you trying to get out?
Yes, that would be lovely. Like, since we know that like processed foods are leading this industry, and I'm also like very interested into healthier stuff. So what would be like intuitive eating, what we can plan for the week ahead, like let's say for family, not only for ourselves, because we want to give for kids the best. So I'm very interested. You mentioned also about kids. That is very important to me, because I have two small kids, 4 and 8 years old. So that is very important for them to have balanced diet.
Yes.
But not
So
always their choice is healthy
uh-huh.
as our choice for them.
Yes. So you feel like, hey, maybe I have a good feeling what I know is healthy for them, but then they get hungry and they're like, hey, mommy, I want to eat spaghetti all day long. And you just kind of give in at that point, right? Something like that?
Yeah, I will. If they want, like, let's say some chips, then I say, let's have dinner, proper dinner, and then you have your chips as a snack, because then I'm sure they're not gonna have it like full load of chips.
Yes, yes,
Like as a treat, just
yes.
so they can have still their choice, but less damage for them.
Exactly. And you know how, I mean, you just said it, damage that comes from hearing about it could go really bad if we don't pay attention in the future. But I think as long as we pay attention while they are little, we can definitely kind of keep them in that good direction. And I personally, and I will talk a lot about the kids. So I have 3 children, and they are now going to be 12. My son will be 12 in a month. My middle daughter will be 10, and then the youngest will be 7 in December. And I'll talk more about that. So I made myself a note, and I want to hear a little bit more about what you were thinking about, what you're going to eat after this workshop or for lunch or dinner. Whoever wants to chime in. I see Diana, Stephanie, Lucia, Oksana, of course, Gita, I think. I like that name a lot. So who wants to share a little bit? What you felt, after we breathed in a little bit and you thought about, oh, I wonder what would I like to eat? Oksana had dinner already, not the healthiest. What did you eat? She always says, I don't eat healthy. And then I look at her body and I'm like, I wish I could not eat healthy and look like that.
I don't know if you know pelmeni, it's like a dumplings, like a Chinese dumpling, but a Russian version of it.
Yum.
I gave to my son because and I was like, okay, I'm going to eat it too. And pancakes. Yes. So I'm telling you, not the healthiest.
Dumplings, I love it. Dumplings and pancakes.
And
the dumplings, do you guys make them at home, or do you go to a restaurant and order them? Or
you can make them at home, or you can buy the frozen ones and put them in the boiled water.
So, but what did you do? I'm just trying to.
It was a quick meal boiled one, like the frozen ones that I put
in the ready one. Yes, yes.
It takes over like 2 hours to make them by hand. I used to make them in June, but it's too much hassle now.
Yes, yes. And so you already had dinner. Okay. So that was your dinner. And you feel kind of bad about it? Why did you feel a little bit bad, Oksana, about eating that way?
No, I don't feel bad, but I do feel like a little bit bad for my son, because like he could eat a bit healthier, and he does love avocados. He eats like a lot of this kind of foods, but I'm being lazy, and I'm like, let's give him pancakes, the easiest, you know what I mean? Like, and then I just eat the leftovers, I don't feel bad for myself, but I feel a bit bad for my son, because I could, like in the early days, I gave him really good quality food, but now I'm like so lazy. So my one of the improvement areas is to feed my son a little bit better foods. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, awesome. So the kids came up twice now. I saw a message. I'm just trying to figure out how to go to, can you read it out loud, Oksana? I need to figure out how to get to the chat. Oh, you're muted. You're muted, Oksana. There we go.
So Diane says, I'm in same time zone and just went out for large juice and fruit. So my stomach is very full. Now having coffee.
Okay.
Then Monica says, I have to go, unfortunately. She will catch the replay. And Diane says, I have a bad habit of reaching for food to give me energy instead of using food as fuel more proactively. So this is a good one to talk about.
Yes. So it's a lot of times, and kind of even what we know with kids, and even if we don't have kids, it's like that planning ahead, like how much do we want to plan ahead to make sure that we have the things around us so we don't grab for kind of sporadically, like, oh my God, I'm hungry. Like, it's almost like you realize you're hungry way too late, right? Like if you realize a little bit earlier that you're hungry, then maybe you have a little bit more time to plan. And if we have almost, let's say, only good things around, then we can kind of grab things at all times. It doesn't really matter that much if we have good stuff in the pantry, good stuff in the refrigerator, and good stuff, you know, laying around the house. So I have like behind me, right, my pineapple and the watermelon and fruits. And I mean, I only put that there for today's workshop. They're usually in the kitchen. But what I'm trying to say is when the kids, for example, do that to me too, right? Like nonstop. Oh my God, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm like, you just ate. And sometimes I'm thinking, well, did they not eat enough nutritional and dense food? Is that why they are hungry? And really, they are mostly hungry right now because they're growing like weeds. I mean, they're growing so fast, and they're also all my kids are in competitive sports, and so they need a lot more fuel than maybe some people or kids, you know, who are not doing sports competitively. And so to kind of answer that question a little bit, when you grab things that are kind of laying around, it's like, one, let's make sure we have good things to grab, so then you don't really feel guilty about it. And then two, if you grab too much of stuff just to kind of get through the day, maybe if you want to sit down with yourself and plan the day ahead a little bit, almost like a food journal, but not very rigid, you know, because I mean, at least for me, I cannot have those food journals where it says, I ate this, and it's like super depressing to know all the stuff I'm eating every day. It's almost like, oh my God, I'm eating a lot. But kind of a journal for fun. And that's kind of going into the next thing I want to talk about is what is intuitive eating actually? And why am I passionate about it? You know, because I hate diets. And I've never, like, even growing up, I don't know if they were too complicated for me to understand what exactly it is, but it's like, if you talk to me about calories and, you know, the micro whatevers and all that stuff, even though I have a degree in health coaching and I should know more of it, it just does not register with me. And so when I was thinking about a name for the workshop, when I talked to Oksana, you know, she said, you want to talk about 𝘨𝑀a's kitchen? And then I was thinking, I said intuitive eating and intuitive meal planning for busy moms and helping the kids stay intuitive for the rest of their life. And I thought, you know, I had this new thing that I'm talking about. And then I did a little bit of research online, of course, and came across this whole thing that everybody's talking about intuitive eating now. And of course, we are all connected. So that's why it came to my mind. But I feel like they are now talking about intuitive eating like another diet, right? Like intuitive eating to lose weight. I'm like, oh my God, guys, stop talking about losing weight. Let's just eat to fuel our bodies, to have enough energy during the day to do the things we want to do. And if we do actually feed a family and children and, you know, extended family, then let's make sure that we, one, are connected to our own body and feeling of fullness. So that's what intuitive eating is, where you actually connect to your body, and then your body basically tells you when you're full, when you eat enough, what you crave. You know, it's going to tell you basically exactly what you need, but it takes practice. It's not going to be like overnight necessarily, especially for people who are way not intuitive or don't practice that kind of stuff. So now they make it into a diet, and it's very confusing, I think, because it's like we finally have something good that we talk about diet wise, or, you know, how to eat and how to meal plan. And now we're making it back into this image that the society wants us to be and have, and, you know, the commercializing side of eating. So Coming back to, I did a blog post. I would share it here, but I don't know how to do it right now. So whenever you guys make a note of it on lacrimaskitchen.com, I have a longer blog post that's called Intuitive Meal Planning. You want to put it in the chat, Oksana? You're like, I'll do it for you. Thank you. So in that blog post, I talk more about my take. Again, you know, if you're interested in the registered dietitian type of take, it's going to be a lot more diet related. If you like the idea that, hey, I really like the idea of just knowing without restrictions, without, you know, calorie counts, and without all that crazy stuff. I just want my body to tell me more of what I should be eating every day, and kind of look at it by the week too, because some days we will be busier than other days, or we have other things going on, and we can't just, you know, sit down and eat that avocado with lemon and little sea salt on top. Sometimes we just have to get those frozen dumplings and pancakes, or go, you know, to a restaurant, or even eat junk food. I mean, especially here in US, oh my God, it's like, it is so hard to find good food sometimes. When I go to work and I drive in certain areas, there's nothing available. And I'm not kidding you. There's like McDonald's and Wendy's and KFC, and that's gonna be your choice. And sometimes I forget to take something with me, and I'm just gonna have to eat that junk, and it's what it is. So in that blog post, I talk about, let's see, what intuitive eating basically is when you kind of read online or talk to registered dietitians and things like that. And there's one quote that I have from a lady called, her name is Alisa Ramsey, and she's a registered dietitian, and her take on is intuitive eating uses the feelings of hunger and fullness and satisfaction and your body's knowledge to dictate your eating choices at that moment. And then, of course, the traditional diets, they use the external factors and the nutritional counts, the calories, and the food groups to kind of tell you what to eat, right? And so I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, okay, but I mean, you know, my intuition will tell me one thing, right? I want to eat something that is making me feel grounded today, for example, or I want to eat something that gives me a lot of energy today. Or, oh my God, I really need that coffee or energy drink because I'm about to fall asleep and I have something really important to do. That still doesn't really give me any kind of recipe idea, or like meal planning idea or grocery list, right? So I kind of took that idea of, okay, intuitive eating, let's connect to the body more. You know, we can kind of meditate, we can journal, we can use our senses when we go grocery shopping. That's part of intuitive eating. You use your senses. You kind of like, you know, let me take this pineapple, for example, right? If it's super ripe, I mean, I would smell the bottom of it, and it needs to smell really good. Right now, it's kind of like, and I can feel it too. So the feel, the touch, the smell, sometimes you have acoustic too. It will tell you if this is going to be good for you or not. And you have a lot of fun this way to go grocery shopping. And yeah, I'm a little crazy when I go grocery shopping. You can imagine smelling and, you know, like touching and rubbing. And my kids, when I tell them, that olive oil, don't waste it. It's really good for you after we eat a salad. Like, just put it on your skin. They're like, oh my God, Mom, you're crazy. So you can use intuition to kind of guide you. Like I said, you know, do I feel like I'm low energy right now? Or do I feel like my body needs those grounding soups when you're feeling kind of nostalgic, or, you know, maybe cold outside and you want to warm up? That is all really good. But I want to talk to you guys also something super practical. I think that's what we are here for. We don't have a lot of time necessarily to just kind of, you know, just kind of meditate all the time about what's fun and good for our body. So a couple of things, and you can write them down. I can also send kind of like a follow-up to our workshop, like a PDF with all the information that I will give you. So number one is intuitive eating. I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear, but I have some music in the background. Can you guys hear the French cooking music? Let me see if I can make it a little bit louder. So when you cook at home, you know, why not make it as fun as possible? Put on your favorite music. They have all these playlists now. I love it. Yeah, it's like bossa nova, right? They call it like French cooking music, or for me, and that's very individual. What is your favorite type of music, you know, that will put you in that mood of relaxation and fun? Because to be honest, it's like, I mean, I love cooking. I'm in culinary school right now, and Oksana knows. It's like I'm making some amazing dishes that are French inspired and all the cool stuff. But when I come home, and then sometimes I'm just super tired, and I love the cooking part, but I hate the dish part, to do the dishes and all that. It's like when you make it all fun. So that's kind of number one to write down. You have to make cooking more fun. You know, what is it for you? Is it the music that you can put on? Is it cooking with your family members? You know, the ones that actually enjoy that stuff. Don't make it a chore. Is it maybe cooking even a little bit more and sharing the meal with someone else? So that part is huge for me. Number one would be kind of like connecting to your body. And then number two is, how can I make this fun today? And an example is, hi. An example is, and Christina, thank you for bringing your son, because what is that on his face? Like yesterday, I had a really good example of, you know, I'm prepping for this workshop, and I'm trying to, it gets boring, right, to cook. And I was prepping for the workshop, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna talk about how much fun I'm having when I go grocery shopping and all that. And I did not feel like cooking at all yesterday. I didn't feel like it. I didn't want to go to the grocery store. It's like 105 degrees here right now. So it's super hot. I don't like driving in the heat. And then, you know, you go to the grocery store and then you're just sweaty and everything. He's listening to it. And so I had my 3 kids at home, and then I also had one of the cousins at home. And of course, you know, every 5 minutes they tell me they want to eat some grandiose lunch and then all this fun stuff. And I said, you know what can I do to make my day easier today when it comes to cooking? And it took a while. It was actually kind of interesting to me, because I was, like I said, kind of prepping for the workshop, and I was thinking, I wonder if other people go through this, where you have a million choices and then you're still like at a loss what to make that day. You know, should I go grocery shopping, or should I go pick something up to eat, and things like that. And my intuition told me, you know what, I'm gonna I'm gonna ask the kids to do the grocery shopping today. So we had so much fun. We went to the grocery store and on the way there, I asked them what they want to actually make for lunch, and they all kind of agreed on tacos. It's kind of a thing that we make here a lot because of the influences we have, international influences. And with tacos, you know, they're very versatile too. It's almost like buffet style. So you have your tortillas and then your meat. So we had like chicken and beef, and then we had talked about getting avocados and peppers and tomatoes and things like that. So involving the kids, especially when they are younger like that, that's going to set them up for success for the rest of their life, because they will feel so empowered to make the choices for them. So we don't tell them necessarily, you know, today, they do that here in America a lot. It's like Tuesday is Taco Tuesday. And I'm like, Tuesday? Why? I don't feel like Taco Tuesday. Can it be please taco, you know, what was yesterday? Thursday. And so my meal planning is not like that, where every day is laid out with a certain type of food, where when you get to that day, okay, it's all prepped and that's amazing, and I'm just going to not waste any more time cooking that day, but I don't feel like eating that day. So use your resources. If you have kids, that's amazing. Ask them what they want to eat, and then ask them to try something new. So if they love pasta, then you just ask, okay, let's go together grocery shopping. What would you like to try today? And then they will tell you. You'll be so surprised how they will go and tell you, like, I love, I want these frozen peas, or, broccoli, or like my middle daughter, she loves Brussels sprouts. I mean, who in the world likes that as a child? None of my other kids like it. She can eat Brussels sprouts every day. And it's not something I would have thought that I would even put in front of them, to try. Some of them like peas more, and some like broccoli more. And all of them love cucumbers and peppers and a lot of other vegetables. But use your children just like that. It's super simple. You have to involve them and stop thinking you have to figure it out for them. So we had basically, our number one was, connect to your body through meditation or journaling. Light a candle if you want. I have one going right now. Drink your favorite drink while you're thinking about meal planning. So be kind of in a relaxed state and put on your favorite music. And then we had to go grocery shopping by yourself, but have fun doing it. When you go grocery shopping, just have fun with it. Don't go when you don't feel like going, because that's like the worst type of meal planning, when you just hate going grocery shopping. If you have that feeling, just don't go, or do it later. Or if you guys have this possibility, we have it here. I can go grocery shopping on my phone. So at that point, I just kind of like put things in my app, and then I go pick it up at the grocery store. So that helps me out a lot when I kind of feel a little bit not into it, right? And then meal planning steps. So kind of like super practical steps are, you go basically, let's just say I'm going to think today what I'm going to cook for today and for the next couple of days. Number one would be, I go and look at my inventory in my fridge and in the pantry, depending on, what you guys have, if we have celeries or whatever. And you just kind of take a quick inventory. And when I say inventory, I mean, you mostly will look at that point if you need the basics, right? The milk, the eggs, the butter, olive oil, things like that. If you're out of those, and you can even have a running list that you use every week, and you can kind of just check on there. I use my phone a lot, so I just kind of make a list. I need this. And believe it or not, of course, we forgot the milk yesterday when we went with the kids shopping. That was so fun. And my son, he loves milk, so he's like, okay. That was actually his job, and it was a good learning curve for him. So you take your inventory, and then you need to get inspired. Now, if you are super into food, you're looking at food all the time, like me, right? Like I'm always on, I don't personally like Pinterest, but I know a lot of people do. But I have a lot of different apps that I will share with you guys that I get inspiration from. I have my favorite bloggers, right? And they have amazing ways of sharing their recipes. And I have a huge collection of like books, because I still love actually holding my book in my hand. And that's great, but not everybody really has the time, and they're not really working in this environment, right, of food nonstop. But I'm sure you have your own ways. I mean, you can possibly just think of like childhood memories, maybe, what was your favorite foods growing up, and you're gonna make those more. Or something, if you have a goal of, okay, I wanna, run a marathon or something like that, of course, you're gonna eat very different than somebody else. So I'm saying basically, after you take your inventory, spend some time to brainstorm about the recipes and then make some kind of a note of it. Like when I go to my apps that I'm going to share here in a little bit, they have ways now where you can actually meal plan easily on your phone. And a lot of these apps are free. And so I'm going to share with you guys, and I'd like for you guys to put in the chat if you have some apps or a certain, even books, if you can think of them, or, you know, at some point even blog posts, share with us, because why not? Everybody, you know, can benefit from knowing what everybody is doing. So the apps that I like, one is called Side Chef. And like I said, we can, I'll make a list of all this and we'll send out some kind of a Word document or so. Side Chef, you can create weekly meal plans with a shopping list. So a lot of these new apps now, they actually have a shopping list where you see the actual recipe. Some of them, they even have you walk through the whole recipe with video instructions and all that fun stuff. And then they have a recipe, like the ingredient list. And here, at least where we live, we can actually say, okay, click this, and then they get an order sent to Target or Walmart or one of these places. Side Chef does that. Another one is called Budget Bites. So Budget Bites and Side Chef is actually, I think, the same company, but Budget Bites was created around the idea that if you want to save money, they also show you how much each meal is, which I think is amazing. Like you can see that most of the meals are like between like $3 and $5 compared to going out to eat, and it's going to be double or more expensive. Another one I love is called Ymly. So like yummy, it's called Ymly Meal Prepping. Another one is called Mealtime. And they actually, most of them also have an area where you can just do your preferences and say, okay, I like more the Mediterranean meals or the vegan meals or vegetarian. And it's not so much to be within a diet, but just to be more like changing it up, right? So it's not boring to not eat the same thing over and over. So I'm gonna make a list of that. And I think that's super, super helpful. To be honest, I don't think I've ever actually said for myself that I want every single ingredient and just click and order, just because I personally enjoy, you know, the whole process of grocery shopping. But the biggest thing that people share with me is, I don't have time for this. Like, that looks all good, 𝘺𝘺𝑚, and I, you know, enjoy what you're telling me, but I don't have the time. So for me, it's like, okay, we have time to, you know, to go to the restaurant and sit down. We have time to sleep. We have time to work. Why not make more time for something so nourishing? And so it contributes, you know, the intuitive eating contributes for us to be less stressed and more connected and spending more time with family. So when it comes to saving time, I think these apps are really, really good. And then find maybe your own apps in your own country, because if you can have that too, where you can get your own groceries like delivered within, you know, a click moment, that's really, really cool. Another thing that I do is and you can follow me on 𝘺𝘺𝑚𝑎's Kitchen also on Facebook and on Instagram, but I started doing more. So meal prepping for me, I'm basically cooking a bigger quantity of something that I like and that I know will be good or even better in the next couple of days. So for example, soups and stews, those kind of things, you can cook in a big batch on the weekend or during the week when you have time, and you can then freeze it and have it ready to go. When I do like chicken or beef, those kind of proteins, if I want to marinate them, I'm gonna make a bigger batch and marinate a bigger batch, not just, you know, for dinner and then I have to do it again tomorrow. So I think it was yesterday when I had done the chicken and I marinated it with just a lot of really nice spices and then herbs and like a full lemon, even the lemon rind, and then put them in a bag. You guys can look at that online. and marinated it. And then today we're gonna grill. And that makes it so much easier. If you prep ahead, in culinary school, we always talk about this. It's called mise en place. So you basically get everything ready for the week. You don't have to cook already, but like get your marinating ready, maybe wash your vegetables so you don't have to wash them the day off, maybe even chop vegetables. And then it's much easier to put together meals, you know, when you have that. So try to not be perfect, just a step further ahead than what you're doing today. That's really all I'm hoping for today too, you know, to just learn one or two more things today that will make your life easier tomorrow. So for me, so we talked about that we did the inventory, we got, you know, the recipes, kind of figured out what we want to eat this week. Then we went grocery shopping either in person or we ordered online. And then it's time to, you know, bring the groceries home. Like I said, wash them, put them away, kind of prep a little bit ahead of time. And then you start cooking. And when you cook if you can, like I said, with loved ones, with music, with something that brings you a lot of joy. Don't make it a chore. I think that's what a lot of people are maybe missing when they say, I don't really have time to cook, or I don't enjoy it, or I don't know how to do it. I think it's because it became so disconnected from connections, if that makes sense. Like, you know, growing up, I mean, a lot of people, I think even in our group here, we grew up cooking with or not cooking necessarily, because they wouldn't let us in the kitchen necessarily, our moms and grandmothers, but we would see them cooking and we would smell the cooking and we would look forward to cooking. And now it's all like a separate thing, like almost cooking is not part of our life anymore. It's like a chore and it takes too much time. And especially, again, you know, I know we are so international in this group, but to be honest, here in United States, it's like a total different mentality when it comes to food. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about it too, to kind of share that it can be different. But when I was working full time, for example, in my previous jobs, I mean, I had to eat my lunch in my car driving from one job to the other. Or I would only get maybe 20, 30 minutes at my desk. Not like there was no, let's go out for lunch and spend some time, you know, enjoying your lunch. And that's how most people are here. They don't get the time. Like, I don't know if it's a thing where it's actually written somewhere in their policy at work, but there's not enough time to enjoy food. So I think it's almost like a pandemic of, you know, not enjoying the process. So let's enjoy it. Let's cook together with kids, with when I say family members, I mean, if you have your family around and they enjoy, or, you know, your spouse, your, I don't know, brother, sister, extended family, if it's something you want to do together, or at least now and then get together over a meal and enjoy that togetherness. And then with the kids, I just feel like, you know, when they're young, it's a little bit hard to necessarily, it's not hard. I had it with the kids where I involved them so much all the time, but to be honest, of course, they almost give you more work sometimes than like what you're trying to do. So, okay, let's make pizza together. Oh my God. I mean, then I have like 2 hours afterwards to clean up everything. But I feel like it was so worth it in the end now, you know. So if you have younger kids, those things don't show up until they are older, because now that they are older, I literally can tell them, you make the salad, you make the dressing, you know, they are self-sufficient already at this age, and it's so worth it. But don't overdo it if it's too much work, you know, if you can't do everything else and then have to clean up the mess. Oh my God, I have so many stories with them. I would always, you know, Facebook or on the internet, it all looks so perfect, right? Like, oh, my kid made this. And then meanwhile, it's like, if you would know the real story behind it, like how much work it was and for me to clean up. But that's what got me to be where I'm at today, doing this today. So couple of questions that I had, and I'd like for you to take a moment to think what questions you have for me today. I'm going to answer Christina. I don't think she is here today, but is she? She had a question about, let's see. Yeah, meal planning, how to do it. And also, how do I tune into my body? And also, how do I keep my husband's needs in mind and my kids' needs in mind? So let me go to the first question. So how do I tune into my body's needs? We talked a little bit about that with the breathing and the journaling. But I would say that every day is a new day, and it's not always going to be the same. It's not going to be easy all the time to tune in, and just know you have to find your way. I think like everybody has their own way. Like some people might really enjoy, I know Oksana loves to go walk in the forest, right? I think a lot of people might be like, I'm not walking in the forest, to clear my mind. But that works for her. For me, it is usually walking outside, like in my neighborhood, or believe me or not, I actually drive about 30 minutes away to some of my favorite spots. And that's where I walk and get kind of my head clear and all that. So you have to find your own way to tune into your body. And then how do I keep my kids and my husband's needs in mind? Because I get it, Christina, when she asked that, she has 2 children and she has a husband, right? Not everybody has someone to actually cook for, but she does. And I do too. And I could just easily say, like some of my friends, they basically say, well, he eats his own thing and I eat my own thing, and I don't really care what he eats, right? Or with the kids, I'll just feed them mac and cheese all the time. And meanwhile, I'm eating my salad and my salmon. But in my house, that's just how I am, is I like for us to all sit together at dinner table and communicate about the day. And I also like for everybody to be exposed to the same food. So how do I keep their needs in mind is basically keeping more my needs in mind more so than theirs. Because I feel like if I take care of myself during dinner and I have something that I really like, well, they better learn how to like it too. Or I give them usually a lot of choices when it comes to the way that I present it. I don't just put the food onto their plate and say, you need to eat this dinner and you better eat everything, until, like completely not listening to their own body cues. A lot of times I would make the meal and it's almost a little bit like a buffet style, where everything is in front of you, and then you can decide how much to put on your plate, if you want seconds or not, if you want the sauce or not. Sometimes my kids, actually most of the time, they're all very different eaters, but they're all really good eaters. But they go from eating, they like literally, it's so fun to watch, because that is intuitive eating as at its core. They decide in the moment what they need. Like when my son grew up, a lot of times, or most of the time, he was like a vegan guy. He would not eat meat. He didn't need it. And now that he plays baseball like a lot and competitively, every time after his game, he wants to eat a steak. It's like we laugh about it, because laugh in a fun way, because he just, his body is needing that protein. So when we sit together over dinner, depending on what's going on, some of them will choose to eat more meat than others, more vegetables or different vegetable, or just rice with butter, and sometimes they squeeze lemon on top and a little bit of salt, and that's it. And I think that's what intuitive eating is, and kind of keeping in mind my family's needs, is to just be flexible and to be open-minded when it comes to everybody's needs, and just respecting it, you know, not pushing, you need to eat more protein because blah, blah, blah. Or, you know, you need to try this, or you need to finish your plate. I hate that, the whole finish your plate, you know, mentality. And then you wonder why the kids are obese these days. It's like, it's not only finish your plate, but a lot of times the plate is not good what they get to eat. So, and then Christina's other question was how I do the meal planning. I feel like I went through a lot of it. Let me see if I wrote anything else here when I was talking about that. I think I went through it pretty in detail. And like I said, I can do the bullet points and the apps that I shared, and even my favorite blogs, if you guys want to know about them. It's just that I wrote down that basically we also want to, how should I say this? We just want to also take a moment to have gratitude for all the food we have and all the choices we have. And I know it's overwhelming because, you know, you go to the grocery store and it's like way, way too many choices. But I think sometimes instead of complaining about, I don't have enough time, you know, it's like too many choices, or, you know, the TV gives us too many confusing information. I think if we are also grateful for the fact that we do have all these choices, and most of us have the money to actually go put food on the table and all that, it can kind of really change our attitude, and also generations to come about food, and making it back I don't know, like the intuitive eating, just kind of bringing us back to our roots. That's what I wanted to say. So that's about it. That's all I have from me, but I would love to hear about what you felt during this workshop, you know, what you took away from it. If you have a couple of things you want to share.
Like Diane was saying here in between, it gets boring just cooking for myself. When I had my kids, I could make it more fun.
Yes. And is she online right now? Yeah, Diana. Diana, if you can, I don't know if you feel like saying anything else. I mean, it doesn't have to always be fun, but you know, do you want to make it more fun? Do you want to maybe just eat with a friend more often, or cook for someone else? Or, I mean, what bothers you about that?
No, I think it'll help me quite a bit if I just change, because I just moved to Mexico, so I'm still kind of not in a routine. You know, like once I finally get into my own place, and I can kind of say, okay, what is it I want to eat this week, and then plan ahead a little bit, because I kind of got out of the habit of doing that. So I think that'll help.
Okay. Are you the one in Puerto Vallarta?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, how are the farmers markets there?
You know, I've only been here since the end of June. So I'm just getting, you know, I'm just getting settled in, and I moved to my new place next week. So
wow.
Yeah.
So is that something, I don't know exactly. I mean, I'm assuming you're totally immersed in the culture, right? You're not like in some kind of a resort or something.
No, I'm immersed. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's going to be, you know, first of all, exactly what you just explained is the reason why you probably haven't gotten back to that fun eating, you know, intuitive eating. I mean, you didn't have any time for it. So that's exactly what you're going through right now, right? Like this new transition. And right now you're kind of eating to just kind of survive, to do the move and open new boxes and all that crazy stuff. And then, you know, when you settled in, but I mean, oh my God, I am just like so happy for you to have the fruits and the vegetables. And I have a friend, she is from Mexico City. And, you know, she goes back every single summer for like the whole summer with her kids. And I know that area is similar to how I grew up too in Romania, you know, where you just have those type of meals, and they have the fruits, you know, those, sorry, I can't think right now, but I know they have those, you know, where you have the fresh fruit when you go to just down the street, and they have it all cut up for you in cups, you know, with the spicy stuff on top. I mean, it's gonna be so amazing. Like, it's just gonna take a little bit of time to get settled in.
Yeah, and my new place is closer to a really good market as well. So I think that'll help. Just to I really, since I posted the quest, or since I posted my comment, you started talking about, you know, just taking the time to think about what your nutrition will look like for the week, and then it'll maybe be inspiring that way.
Yes. And I mean, I'm not there yet, right? But I have plenty of friends who are there where the kids are now out of the house. And I don't know how long it's been for you, but I know it's such a huge transition. I mean, like huge, like I'm not looking forward to it. So just kind of acknowledging that. And I'm sure you have, you know, I'm sure you know all this, but it's just acknowledging that, you know, it's so different, I'm sure, now in your life to not cook for them anymore, not see their, you know, their fun smiley faces when they get to eat.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Well, good luck. I'm hoping to see pictures somehow online or so.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. And then Lucia, thank you so much. I need to go. All right. And just so you know, my youngest, her name is Lucia as well. So that's pretty cool. All right. Well, Christina, do you have, yes, Lucia or Lucia? I don't know how you pronounce your name, Lucia. Christine, do you have any other questions? Did I kind of, I don't know, touch a little bit more?
I would love to hear your opinion about, you know, cravings and also like intuitive choice for food. Let's say sugary foods and chocolate, you know. There is that little addiction to chocolate that I have. It's like comforting food for me. So it's not really, it's like more craving than intuitive food, like a choice. Yes. So what is your comment about that?
So I personally, so I'm just gonna tell you my personal experience basically, because I don't really have a, like I said, I'm just not, first of all, I'm not there, you know, to give any like real advice, is it good or not? We just know sugar is not good for us, right? We know that. At the same time, I feel like the darker chocolate like totally outweighs the bad stuff that sugar actually might do to us, right? I mean, it's like it's giving you so many things, hormonal changes in your body where you're just completely happy all the time. And it's nutritionists like the cacao powder and all that. When you look into the benefits of antioxidants and all that, chocolate is actually really good for us, in my opinion. But of course, you know, you cannot even eat that much chocolate. I mean, it's like I sometimes I crave the chocolate and then I eat it, and then after a while I'm just full. So at that point, and you know, even how many times do you really have chocolate? I'm pretty sure it's going to be during maybe some times during the month when we don't feel so good. You know what I'm talking about, right? And then it's like when we're super stressed maybe, or it's when we see a really good movie and then I want my chocolate. So it's like, what, maybe like 3 times a month that I'm going to have chocolate. And that is so amazing. And plus, I personally, I don't really eat, I just don't like other sweets. I only like chocolate. So now if you eat, you know, this and that and cake, like the other day, that was so crazy. You know, someone, to not say who it was, you know, family, the kids were talking about, so I get to eat dessert every second day. They came to my house and I offered them dessert. Today is the day that I can eat dessert, but tomorrow I cannot eat dessert. And then the next day, so I'm going to eat dessert every single second day. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to talk to the parents because this is getting out of hand. What are they thinking, you know? To make rules around dessert for children. Like, now they want to have dessert every second day. Like my kids don't eat dessert every single second day or every day. They eat it when they feel like it, not because it's some stupid rule. So I hope that answered your question. But when it comes to, is there healthier chocolate? Of course, there are so many good chocolates out there. And I happen to love dark chocolate. So thank God, because I'm kind of saved, I actually like more dark chocolate than the not dark chocolate, the cacao content, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah. I think the only real rule around my house, and I have to bend it often with Oksana. Why are you laughing so hard? You'll tell us.
No, I'm like trying to catch attention.
Do what?
Trying to catch attention, like.
Oh.
Yeah, I was saying because I not studied, but there is an excellent book. I may find the name in English. But it pretty much tells around every food, for example, Kit Kat chocolate, or
Yes.
Milky, what type of need is unfulfilled. So Christine, what type of chocolate do you eat usually? What type of chocolate are you have cravings for?
Christine.
Sorry, my little son was taking away my attention, but
yes.
Certainly sweet chocolate, obviously the milk chocolate is not the healthiest, but sometimes what comes first I choose, but obviously I know that dark chocolate is much healthier, so I do love dark chocolate. So
yeah. But which one would you eat? Which one do you have
less sugar content? Yeah.
Do you remember the brand, or what type? Is it like Kit Kat or Toblerone or?
Rather Toblerone than Kit Kat.
I love Toblerone.
But obviously I love Lindt chocolate with a high content of cacao in it. So Lindt is really, it is expensive, but when we can choose quality, obviously it's much nicer taste as well than any other regular dark chocolate. So,
yeah, so the chocolate is usually in per the book. I don't remember exactly what chocolate meant, but usually if they have nuts in it, then we have also a bit of a frustration with chocolate and nuts in a sex life and also in a partnership. If there is
let's find that book. That sounds so much fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna find the book because it's so matches, At one point my ex-partner ate a lot of Kit Kat. I was like, how did you think about this thing? And I was eating a lot of chocolate with nuts, And it's usually for women when they eat chocolate, they either are lacking self-love, or they feel neglected in a relationship, or they also are very highly successful and they want to manage their energy levels. So we have energy drinks, not energy drinks, but high sugary drinks. It's for the we want to have a boost of energy, and chocolate as well. But I'll think about this book and I'll tell you if I find it. It's really cool.
And this is such a great example of being just intuitive, right? Because not too many people would spend as much time to decide which type of chocolate. A lot of people would just say chocolate is chocolate, but it's not. It's like anything else. It's like Oksana is saying, there's a whole book around it, why we are drawn to this chocolate and not that chocolate. You should see me too in front of the chocolate aisle. I'm I take my time and I'm putting my hands on them to see which one. So we'll find out more. That is so cool. So this is basically it for now. I was thinking, I can send you guys. I have a meal planning guide that I can send, but I looked at the recipes and I was like, you know what? It's not for everybody. I feel like everybody, they do have to find their own meals and what they like. What if I tell you what I cook every day, it doesn't mean, some of it you will like, and I'm sure, the techniques and things like that I maybe know better because I do more of it. that's all cool, but everybody lives in a different part of the world where you even connected to that soil completely different than I'm connected to my soil and my sun and everything here. I don't know, I hope that makes sense, but I just don't feel like we need to look out there on the internet and always be like, oh, I wish I could do this meal planning like this person and it would be amazing for me. I don't think it works that way. We have to keep in mind the region, like kind of like the regional food, you know, and what's in season for you might not be in season for me right now. And even right now I'm starting to order more from farmers that are around here. And I can taste the difference, like what you get in the grocery store, even the chickens and the eggs and of course things like that. You can taste the difference and it makes you feel also differently when you eat, you know, what's regional. So that's something I would consider adding, you know, to just kind of trust that what is around you is maybe going to be also the best for you to eat, and not you know, not like random things from all over the world all the time, even though I love sushi. So I would say that is the one thing that I'm go ahead, Christine.
Yeah, I still want to comment. I love the way how you said about when preparing food, let's set like background music and have this beautiful energy what we put into the food when we prepare it, because we have to eat it like, you know, absorbing all that. So all the good thoughts and all that. And I still love, actually, maybe for somebody else, so it can be a good idea. We always at home decorate our food when we place it on a plate with flowers or seeds or something that comes, you know, we sprinkle on top. And this also gives this special feeling like it's in restaurant, but the home restaurant is even better than the restaurant. So we make it even that special. So, and then it's like celebration of the day to have that food when it's so full of that beautiful energy.
Yes.
So I love your ideas, and also this is also something to think about, how we serve the food.
Exactly. I love it. Decorate the plate. Yeah, and I agree with Diane too, because you know, sometimes I get a little bit frustrated that not everybody, Oksana knows this well, not everybody, even in my house, feels the same way as I do, right? Sometimes I'm like, I'm waiting for everybody to come to dinner, then my husband is running late, then my kids could care less. And meanwhile, I'm trying to do this like really beautiful, energetically amazing meal. And sometimes they don't care, right? Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. And like Diane says too, and that's what she's going through, it's like we have to almost sometimes just do it for ourselves too, and not only for other people. You know, it's nice to share and it's nice to be together as a family, but let's not forget that, hey, maybe my plate can look amazing, and then when they are ready to eat, you know, they can make their own plate a little bit less showable. So thank you for that. I love it.
It is exactly what is Oksana teaching, self-love. That is when it comes first. So we serve the plate. Actually, in house, it felt so strange when we started like this new approach for kids. They actually see that we serve the plate for ourselves first, the way we decorate, the way we place food with a special attention on the plate. Maybe they don't do it now, but they absorb this information, and one day they will just make it. It will be in their DNA or in their subconscious at least. So they learn all that self-love as well. So that also comes priority.
Yes. And with that, Oksana, we love you so much. And I appreciate the opportunity to do the workshop, get out of my comfort zone, kick out my husband out of the house this morning so I can have some me time. And I look forward to doing more of this and to follow up with everybody and, you know, answer questions when they come in the next couple of days.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lacrima. It was beautiful. And thank you everyone who was here. If you have connect with Lacrima, her details are in the event section. Lacrima, if you want, actually also put your email addresses, or how are you going to send this information, Lacrima? What do you need?
I think when you have the recording, I believe, well, I don't know if everybody registered, but we can just in the event group, we'll put information in there, probably all the follow-up information.
Yeah, okay, yeah, let's do so, yeah. Okay, yeah, because I don't know, registered. Okay, great. Thank you so much. That was amazing. That's it, yeah?
Yeah. Anybody has any other questions before we go?
No.
No,
Okay.
I think everybody's good. All
Thank
right.
you.
Well, have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thanks. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.